we're pretty much on the edge here, I think. You really do feel you're on the way to somewhere pretty nasty when you start swimming down that tunnel.
Probably something has gone wrong.
There's a lot of apprehension. In some ways, it's probably worse for people that are waiting.
I'm Gavin Newman. I'm an adventure sports photographer from England and a caver and cave diver. And I'm out here in northern Spain to dive a cave that's in the bottom of that gorge behind us.
The Urdon Gorge in the Picos de Europa, part of the Cantabrian Mountains of northern Spain. And at the bottom of the gorge, a sunlit ribbon of fresh water. This is the story of an expedition into the dark interior of these mountains, a claustrophobic journey into places that have never seen daylight. It starts here, basic daily donkey work for a 5-man team of highly skilled specialists.
Phil is my regular cave diving partner back in the UK. He's much more into the real sort of techie side of it, the numbers side of it, all that sort of thing, and he could sort of blind you with information about technical diving for hours.
Stops are now starting to get longer. We're now onto a deeper stop.
I think I've always had an affinity with water. I was swimming from a very early age. I just like being in the water.
Colin and Jim have been involved in this cave, like myself, for quite a while. Colin was involved in some of the original explorations back in the mid to late 70s.
I'm not trying to make a big issue of it, you know. That's the way it seems to come out, of course.
Sometimes a little controversial, but his enthusiasm and his strength as a caver, he's a very good caver, basically. Jim now lives and works out here, runs his own trekking company here.
That was quite hard work. A lot of gears go down. Probably about 200 kilos, I'm not too sure.
He's very fit, very strong, a very able caver. Mark's an outdoor pursuits instructor from the UK. He's basically the expedition humorist, I think. Keeps us all in good spirits.
And it comes from behind and it overtakes him, so he disappears down this farm track.
He's carried more weight up and down the gorge so far than anybody else.
Water from these 8,000-foot peaks has sculpted within the mountains a network of passages, caves, and flooded shafts called sumps. Is it possible to retrace the course of the water, follow its route from bottom to top? For the past 15 years, British divers have been coming here to try to find such a path through the maze.
The aim is basically to join where the water goes in to where it comes out, linking all the systems to the whole sort of master system within the mountain.
We probably have a couple of tons of equipment here with us at least. Unfortunately, there's no easy way of doing this. If there was a road to the bottom of the gorge, that would be fantastic, but there isn't, so it's a case of pack it up, stick it on your back and walk. And it is really hard work. Getting the gear there is not what we came here to do. It's once we've got there and we've put it all together that really the fun begins.
The last few meters of daylight. From here on, darkness and numbing cold will take over. This is adventure with peculiar charms.
To us, the big thrill of exploring caves is even with something like a mountain. Somebody can climb a mountain that's never been climbed before, but these days a plane or a satellite has seen the top of it. Whereas with cave exploration, no light has ever fallen on these places before.
Kettle's boiling, someone get it.
It's not like mountain climbing where you know where the top is. With a cave, until you go there and look around that corner, you've no idea what you're going to find. So it's a real anticipation thing.
A chill breath reaches out from the mouth of the cave. The naked flame of the simple gas lamp will soon be all but consumed by the blackness within.
It's quite a hazardous environment. I mean, most of the water coming out of all the sumps within Agra is meltwater from snow plugs in the shafts deep on the mountain. So the water temperature is very, very cold.
So we're getting Colin.
So if you're spending a long time in there, your body temperature is dropping rapidly. So we need a lot of high-tech equipment to keep our body temperature stable so we can explore this system.
As well as the gas lamp, each cave diver carries an electric torch. An unexpected treat. The first section of cave is dry.
Hey Jim, do you reckon this water level is lower than before?
Shall we look? Oh, definitely.
In the past, there has been so much water here that Gavin has been unable to reach the sump. On this occasion, it's looking good. Deeper and deeper they go into the lifeless heart of the mountain.
It is complete darkness. If you turn off your cave lights, wave your finger in front of your face to the point where you've poked yourself in the eye, you don't see a thing, nothing at all.
The site where they'll dive is 2 kilometers from the cave entrance. Sense of distance and of direction are distorted inside the mountain. They're climbing uphill towards a dive underwater.
A lot of people do think that they're going to suffer from claustrophobia in a crawl. In reality, it's not that bad because there's a howling draft coming through, and I think claustrophobia is when you're closed in, like getting stuck in a lift. It's actually one of the fears I have sometimes.
The draft is important. It tells the cavers the system does reach the surface. As the weather changes outside, the caves can moan and sigh in response to the atmospheric pressure. So far, so good. The Cueva del Agua was first explored in the mid-1970s by a large group of student cavers. Among them was a young Colin Boothroyd. The students explored and named 16 kilometers of passage. Student adventure, student sense of humor. They reached an underground junction and, as disciples of Monty Python, named one way the road to the Holy Grail and voluptuous virgins, and the other the road to certain death.
Of course, they didn't know that there was this big, deep sump on the other side of the waterfall at the end of the section that they'd found. And so there's a sort of an irony about the name, in that there is actually sort of quite a severe obstacle to be passed at the other end of the road to certain death. Sort of kind of eerie in some ways, but kind of nice enough.
Gavin first came to the Cueva del Agua in 1986. He was part of an expedition led by Rob Parker, who was to die in 1997 while filming a cave dive in the Bahamas. Rob Parker was a legendary character and made several solo dives in the certain death sump, laying line as he went. He had to turn back at 63 meters, but reported that there he had seen a shaft leading upwards. Gavin and Phil are now going to dive the same sump and try to find out what happens next on the road to certain death.
Anybody who says they're not nervous before they do something like this shouldn't be doing it. It's those nerves that actually keep us alive, keep you on edge, make sure that you're doing everything properly all the time.
The road to certain death. Straight out of Monty Python, but also a trail in the real footsteps of a dead friend. This is a strange subterranean world of contradiction.
My strength is my stubbornness. Basically, when my body and my head are saying, it's time to go home, I carry on. I seem to sort of kind of be happy down there and I stick at it.
The last obstacle before the sump. One slip here and it's a long fall down a narrow crevasse. A wall the height of a 6-story building. Behind this natural dam lies the certain death sump. Water from the sump flows out over the rim.
Conditions in the sump, I've just climbed up and had a look at it. Visibility looks like a good 15 to 20 metres, which is excellent for this cave. It's really good. Tomorrow's the day, so we're all set up and ready to go tomorrow.
The day of the dive. Gavin checks his reel of nylon thread. They'll pay it out along the unexplored section of sump and follow it home. Quite literally, it's their lifeline. Each piece of equipment is meticulously inspected before it's taken to the top of the dam. They've now been inside the mountain for 2 hours.
Your helmet's going to come up in a bag or...
I'll wear it out, probably.
Gavin and Phil decide to put on their gas-filled dry suits at the bottom of the dam. These suits will protect them against the underwater cold, but one puncture on the climb and they'll be useless.
I think a lot of people don't appreciate why we do this. Everybody always asks you why, and it's a very, very difficult question.
It's handy dandy.
I tend to look on it that all cave divers are probably frustrated astronauts. You know, we really want to go where no man's been before. It's a real cliche thing that everybody says, but we do actually really do that, and it's something that really drives me on. The other thing that really drives me on is the visual aspect of it. I'm a photographer and filmmaker at heart, and that's what I do. Not just for a job, I do it all the time because I love it. And somewhere like this is so unusual to actually be able to go there and photograph it and record it. You know, everybody else takes landscapes, portraits, weddings, all that sort of thing, but I can go down there and photograph something that's just so amazing and so unusual that it's a real exciting thing to do for me.
Gavin has designed a special camera housing. The underwater pressure would destroy any standard equipment. But there is a hitch. The viewfinder is not working. Gavin will be filming blind.
Phil, can you pull the bottle twist up here. Okay. Hang on. Okay. Take a bit.